best. And it's the bittersweet moment. We thank you for the gift of your husband, your friend, your brother, your grandfather, father. And as part of our gratitude, we will have the words of Hansard and a DVD of the tributes that you heard today so that you can know that he's held in high regard. I thank all members. Thank you. It is now time for reports by committees. The member from Oakville.
Thank you, Speaker. I beg leave to present a report from the Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs, and I move its adoption.
Flynn from the Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs presents the committee's report as follows and moves its adoption. Your committee begs to report the following bill without amendment. Bill 105, an act to amend the Employer Health Tax Act.
Shall the report be received and adopted? Agreed? Agreed. The bill is therefore ordered for third reading. Reports by committees. The member from Simcoe North.
Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to present a report from the Standing Committee on the Legislative Assembly and move its adoption.
Hear, hear. Mr. Dunlop from the Standing Committee on the Legislative Assembly presents the committee's report as follows and moves its adoption. Your committee begs to report the following bill as amended. Bill 49, an act to amend the Employment Standards Act 2000 with respect to tips and other gratuities.
Shall the report be received and adopted? Agreed? Agreed. The bill is therefore ordered for third reading. Reports by committees. Reports by committees. Last call for reports by committees. Introduction of bills. The Minister of Labour.
Speaker, I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend Various Statutes with Respect to Employment and Labour, and that it now be read for the first time.
Mr. Nacfi moves that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend Various Statutes with Respect to Employment and Labour, and that it now be read for the first time. Is it the pleasure of the House? The motion carried? Carried.
This is a bill entitled An Act to Amend Various Statutes with Respect to Employment and first reading of the bill. Premier lecture, projet de loi.
The member for a short statement.
Speaker, I'll make the statement to a ministerial statement.
Thank you. Introduction of bills. The member from Lanark-Frontenac-Lennox and Addington.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Human Rights Code with respect to the awarding of costs of proceedings, and that it now be read for the first time.
Mr. Hillier moves that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Human Rights Code with respect to the awarding of costs of proceedings, and it now be read for the first time. Is it the pleasure of the House? The motion carried? Carried.
This is a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Human Rights Code with respect to the awarding of costs of proceedings. First reading of the bill. Premier lecture to projet de loi.
Member for a short statement.
Speaker, the Human Rights Code Amendment Act, the awarding of costs, currently under the Statutory Powers Procedures Act, a tribunal is permitted to award costs if certain preconditions exist. The Human Rights Code is amended to provide for the awarding of costs by the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you. Introduction of bills for Lanark-Frontenac-Lennox and Addington.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Liquor License Act to permit the retail sale of liquor, and that it now be read for the first time.
Mr. Hillier moves that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Liquor License Act to permit the retail sale of liquor, and it now be read for the first time. Is it the pleasure of the House? The motion carried? Carried.
This is a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Liquor License Act to permit the retail sale of liquor. First reading of the bill. Premier Lecture du Projet de Loi.
The member for a short statement.
Speaker, the name of the bill is the Spirits of Competition Act 2013. The bill amends the Liquor License Act to allow manufacturers of liquor to obtain a license to sell liquor that does not contain alcohol in excess of 15% to retail sellers of liquor that meet the requirements specified by the regulations under the Act. In turn, when those retail sellers apply for a license to sell liquor or a renewal of that license, they can request that the license not be subject to the conditions that presently apply to other licenses to sell liquor, namely the requirement that liquor sold must not be removed from the premises. A license to sell liquor that is held by a retail seller is subject to the conditions that liquor sold under that license shall not contain alcohol in excess of 15% and shall not be sold except during the hours of 7 a.m. to midnight local time.
Thank you. Introduction of bills. Introduction of bills. Last call for introduction of bills. Motions. Point of order. Point of order from the member from Simcoe Grey.
I seek unanimous consent to move a motion without notice regarding Bill 111, an act to amend the Law Society Act and the Solicitors Act, Bill 52, an act to proclaim the month of April as Sikh Heritage Month, and Bill 15, an act to proclaim First Responders Day. Give that to the Speaker, please.
Member from Simcoe Grey is seeking unanimous consent to put a motion without notice. Do we agree? Agree. I heard a no. Motions.
Motions. Now time for statements by ministries. Minister of Labour.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, our government is committed to standing up for Ontario's workers, and that means strengthening workplace protections and increasing fairness for both employees and businesses. Therefore, it is truly a pleasure to rise for the introduction of our proposed legislation, the Stronger Workplaces for a Stronger Economy Act. Our government recognizes that as our economy is changing, that the nature of work is also changing, and that our rules have to keep up. And this bill is about taking action to protect vulnerable workers and leveling the playing field for employers who play by the rules. I want to thank both the United Way and the Law Commission of Ontario for joining me earlier today as I discussed this proposed legislation, and for spearheading both a dialogue around these important issues and for putting forward many thoughtful solutions which are reflected in this bill. It shows that out of positive conversations and constructive recommendations comes real and meaningful action to protect Ontarians. We're doing this because it is the right thing to do and is an essential part of ensuring we help grow our province the right way. We're investing in our people by strengthening workplace protections and supporting a dynamic business environment that increases